Okay, I believe we're on here. I see one green dot. Woo! As they say, Mercury wants to have its fun. So it's now 1:05 p.m. Welcome to Clear Blue Radiance, and I am the founder and podcast host, Brother Francis Revels-Bey. I've been a spiritual counselor for over 40 plus years, and I enjoy helping people such as yourself gain greater clarity in your life and also discover or rediscover what your purpose is. Many times our purpose changes as we change. And so this is a golden opportunity for us to have this opportunity and also for me to share the wisdoms or pearls or gems that I've received over the years for myself. I'm doing this Clear Blue Radiance podcast today on February the 6th, 2025. I'm doing this on Resident Essentials YouTube channel. Resident Essentials is a nonprofit organization, and its full title name is Resonant Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics. I'm going to say a little something about what happened with it the other day, but we're going to get started with today's program. Today's program is You Are the Sacred Reflection of I Am as Unconditional Love. You are the light of divine grace in action. Kind of a mouthful. And perhaps over the 200 some odd podcasts I've done over 4 years here, you've perhaps heard me use the terms reflection, use the term unconditional love, use the term divine grace, as well as light. And so I want to explain them a little bit, and we're going to do a meditation at the end of this presentation so that you can have a full awareness and journey into all of this for yourself. I'm always bundled up like a teddy bear in my own apartment. So, we all have an opportunity to build and shape new paradigms while the old one dissolves. And that's what we see right now. All of this stuff that's happening in the news that's designed to give us misdirection based on illusions or lies or whatever. All these things are consciously going on around us. And these things want to attach themselves to our inner being, or well as our soul, but we can't allow that. So the news media is constantly bombarding. But at the same time, there are many, many positive people using the internet in a positive way to plant seeds of greater love and compassion into this world, greater gratefulness, gratitude, if you want to call it. You know, I have a book over here entitled by Neil Donald Walsh that he wrote, I believe, back in 1994 or 1997. And the book is entitled When Everything Changes, Change Everything. And it was kind of a quaint title, but it makes sense. With so much things that were threatening in the world around us, and he is saying, hey, we don't have to lose sight of what God is telling us what to do. The presence of the divinity is telling us what to do. Good afternoon, there, Island Empress, better known as Barbara Ewing. What these things are telling us is that change is going to be pushed on people, but it's being pushed onto us so that we reawaken to our true self. And it's our true self, our divine nature, that can push and peel all of this negativity away. And that's why in the world, there are people doing marches and campaigns against all governments worldwide. The small voices are banding together and becoming a bigger tribe where they are marching on everything. Hey, Cynthia, how you doing? You made it. So they are marching on everything, bringing everything to come to the surface. Those who could not speak now have a voice, and they're doing it together, peacefully. And we could say it's definitely a rainbow. Hey there, Jackie. We can say it's definitely a rainbow of people because there's people from the melanated to the non-melanated joining hands together doing this march. And they may attract close to 1 million people down there on June 29th, 2025 in DC. So more people are coming together to saying what must be done, what should be done in order for harmony, in order for people to exist. People have asked, well, what do you do? Are you going to march? I don't have to march now. All of us don't have to march. That's like leaving your home. Everybody leaves the home and there's nobody there to protect the home, but the poor dog is left behind to protect the home. No, certain ones are designed to do that. Certain people have the makeup to do that. But here's the other thing. While that is going on, there's an internal march that's going on. There's an internal passing of the torch that is going on. All those who are also with those you see out front are still passing on unconditional love into this world, into their grands, nieces, and nephews, as much as possible, so that all people can receive a healing and a wellness that will supersede any wound that one can imagine. This is why, if we all can just focus more on the presentation into the world of our internal light, the more the darkness will be eaten away. Those who choose to act out of ignorance, those who choose to act out of anger, those who choose to act out of hatred, those are the ones who do not understand that that which they do among the masses to hurt others, they're hurting themselves. Whether they get it now or generations behind them get it. Usually, generations behind them get it. Generations then realize, why am I going through this? Well, then you have to research the generation before you. So if people were applauding negativity as a part of their family upbringing, then those who are the descendants of them now reap those benefits. And those are not benefits. Those are painful situations, painful burdens they have to carry around, that they have to work out. This is why it says sometimes your actions you do today can bring a great healing to those in the past. Sometimes you might realize, well, who was I in the past? Some of those same people in your family lineage and in other lineages. Because we all are choosing these different environments to come into to work out some details. But the thing we were supposed to put forward was unconditional love. We were supposed to call out of the ether's grace to be a part of who we are. Peace, Rose Jefferson and Jackie Fillmore Antoine. We were supposed to do this. We don't have to live out the illusion that we see in the world. We're supposed to paint a new paradigm. That's why we see all this stuff that's happening now. You've noticed it boasted up really big 2 years ago, right? Got stronger. And last year it got wilder, right? And now it's starting at the beginning of the age of Aquarius. That means those who had a foothold on controlling people think they're controlling people, but not really. Because every inch of the way, people who supported them thinking, oh, they're going to save us and we're going to push the other people underneath the rug. No, what's going to happen is those people who voted for those people are going to feel the crunch. And those who've always felt the crunch, they'll just take another sigh, another deep breath, and figure out another way. So I say that to start this off with, that we all have an opportunity to build and shape the new paradigm right now. We don't have to wait 10 years down the road to shape it. Now's the time to get on your canvas in here and start painting those new pictures, those new images of what you choose to see in your life. And the more of us do that, we will see less and less and less and less and less and less and less of the other stuff. In fact, the other stuff, before it hits the news, you'll see it in dream time, and you'll be able to shift it around in dream time. That's what they don't understand. You have the power to shift it around in dream time. You go to sleep at night, or you choose to daydream, or you choose to meditate, you can change the channel, change the frequency until that one goes flat. When it goes flat, it will have no power. And those who keep trying to revive it will fall into the trench. They will kick themselves out and go back home. And we already know one person, he's not invited into 120 countries, but he's talking about sending Americans into foreign prisons. What he's saying is he's next. His higher self is programming him to one day be in one of those foreign prisons, or the worst prison, to be trapped in his own mind and can't get out of his own fears. That's the worst prison. So you cannot manipulate humanity anymore, because humanity is growing and humanity is inclusive, everybody. As a sacred reflection, because the title is We Are the Sacred Reflection of I Am as Unconditional Love. That's the first sentence. The second sentence is You are the light of divine grace in action. So, as a sacred reflection, we are waves of sound and light. So, you see me, light reflected off in the screen, and then you hear the sound of my voice. And beyond that, there's a hum. And beyond the sound of my voice, there are gaps between the inhalation and exhalation. And in those gaps is where the eye, the all seeing eye, is looking through, is where the all seeing heart chakra is expanding through those gaps between my words that I speak. We are the waves of sound and light pouring forth from our divine origin. So you can't destroy the divine origin. The primordial can't be destroyed. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to destroy it, but they realize they can't. So what's the next best thing? Cut the cords where everybody's connected. But that's not going to work either. That won't work. You can't cut a cord that you can't see. A finite mind cannot comprehend infinite things. Those are finite mind people. They're not comprehending infinite things. So they can't cut a cord that they cannot recognize or cannot see, cannot sniff out. They can put all the canines out there they want. There's certain beings around us that can communicate with a canine too, and look deeply into the canine and command the canine to turn around and bite its master or run away or protect me, not them. They don't understand this. They don't understand that there's an internal grid of telepathic information that's overriding the minds. If there are a billion people on the planet and only 1% is trying to control the billion, the 1% will become zero. Why? Because everything is communicating with each other. That's also crystals are communicating with you. Uh, Plants on the earth are communicating with you. Amoeba in water is communicating with you. Water has consciousness, that's communicating with you. The air is communicating with you. The liquid in your system is communicating with you. Everything is communicating with everything. They can't break that grid. They can bring down a power grid if they want. The divine grid stays in motion. There are some people that will be so blessed that they look at their children and their children say, I know how to cut it back on, mom and dad. So how do you know how to cut on a generator? Oh, I learned this in school last year. And all of a sudden, little one in your house has turned back on your generator, got your lights working, got your water working, got your heat working, because they didn't forget. It's already inside of them. So all of this is coming together. This is from the divine origin of which we are a part of. We're moving about the earth plane and all of its elements, and then we return to the divine source. That's what a reflection of light does, right? It hits, and then the angle of the incidence, it's perfect. It bounces right back from which it came. Not and only it'll bounce back on an angle. However, if it comes directly over the top, it goes through the center and back into source even faster. So all these things are coming about as an essence of pure intelligence. We are a part of pure intelligence. When people think negatively, they separate themselves from pure intelligence. They fall into what? Ignorance. That's where they fall. Until someone comes along to uplift them out of ignorance, but only when they're ready to be uplifted. If they're not ready, they're not coming out. So there's no saving them, there's only saving themselves. So we carry within ourselves infinite expressions of divinity known as I am. If you take the AM, which is like morning time, but you turn it around, is MA, which is Ma. I am Ma. I am the mother. We all are like our mother and our father, but more like our mother. Because our mother carried us for 9 months, and she's in communication with us for 9 months. She's nourishing us for 9 months. Therefore, we're going to have ways like mother. We might even look like mother. You might look like your mother's mother, which is your grandmother. You might look like your great grandmother, and on and on and on and on and on. Why? Because you come from that same place. It never can be destroyed. So not only is it pure intelligence, the I am, it is also higher wisdom and higher consciousness. It is the truth that stretches beyond the finite mind or the limited mind. What we see in the news is limited actions from limited minds, a selfish mind, a miscreated ego, someone who's caught and entrenched in their own anger. There is no self love there. From this light comes all true alignment. So we do that every day. You get your rest, you get your walks in, you drink as many fluids as necessary, you exercise, right? You study the science of fasting. You just go on and on. You take a moment and sit in silence, just contemplate, just gaze out into the sunlight and into the land. These things are needed to what? Create balance within yourself and greater harmony for yourself. As we do this for true alignment and the metaphysical studies that go on. Metaphysics means, meta means beyond the physical, beyond the science of physical things. So we're a physical being on earth, but we are spiritual. We have a certain degree of light that we are carrying, right? And every time we meet and greet each other, there's some sparks, divine fiats, sparks of faith popping up, lightning bolts. Why? Because we're on the same plane and we're communicating with each other. Even when we're not verbally in conversation with each other, or if you're just thinking about somebody, that is happening. That is continuously happening all the time. And so you're allowing yourself to have freedom of thought and freedom of movement. And all you can do is do the hallelujah dance if you want, do a faith dance if you want. But one thing that you will remember, you are a divine being and you are meant to walk the face of this earth in your true light. Now, just before I get a little further here, I'm going to share this on my Instagram page. Sometimes in the sharing of these things, we get to have more people on here. So today is February the 6th, 2025. It's a Thursday, the first Thursday. It's an opportunity for me to share this wisdom with you. Now, my goal is not to sound like a preacher, but I am a teacher. Yeah, I've done ministerial things before, and it kind of bores me. I don't like to be standing behind a podium, quote unquote, preaching a text or something. I just like to wing it. And I guess by doing these podcasts, this is how I get the information across to people. So, as people are gradually joining me on Instagram, this is Clear Blue Radiance. This is my podcast for Resonant Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics out here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I'm doing it from my home, which makes it a lot easier for me rather than being in the center. So, getting back to you are the sacred reflection of I am as unconditional love. You are the light of divine grace in action. So, on further notice here, we are here to learn to know and remember who we are. Now, we've been taught to think we're just the flesh and bones and blood and muscles, nerves and tendons, teeth and hair and nails. We were taught that this is the only reality. But this reality changes in due time according to how long and how good we're able to take care of this form. Some people get to see 100, 120. Some people get to see 60. Some people get to see 50. Others get to see 80 to 90 years of age. Laughter is a way of instilling in us higher energy, more energy, so we can be around on the planet longer. Many times, some of us are thinking, with all the trouble that's going on in the world, I just want to get off the merry-go-round. I'm tired. Well, before you can get off the merry-go-round, you need to plant a seed so that if you do get off the merry-go-round, you can follow the seed of light that you placed out into the ethers around you, go pick it up like a flashlight, and you find your way back into the realm of divinity again. It is true that when one passes away or is about to pass away, their ancestors come, those who have left before them from long ago or immediately, start to surround them in the ethers. I had the opportunity to witness that on May 13th, 1981. My mother was in a diabetic coma, but in the hospital, I had a chance to feel the presence of a miscarriage daughter and son, her mother, her father, her grandparents, even my dad. I had a chance to see them in the vibration in the room. And it was something to behold, to be able to feel that presence and then see it with the lights on in a hospital room. Then sit in a chair and feel them around me going toward the bed to receive her. These things are true. They actually do happen. We don't often remember how they happen, but they do happen. So from this light comes this true alignment and a true knowing and a remembrance of who we truly are. But we have to let go of the past, not rethink the past, and definitely not repeat the past. I mean, not try to relive it. You don't have to relive the past to correct it. If you thought you made any errors, you do not have to replay it into this current life to correct it. You don't have to do that. You just acknowledge it within here that it did take place, that you did participate in it, But then say to yourself, you now understand the do's, the don'ts, the ifs, the whatnots. You can now let it go. You don't have to carry it like a stripe on your shoulder. Like in the service, you don't got to be a master of arms to say, I experienced that. You can now forgive yourself because the forgiveness is for you. You don't worry about knocking on someone else's door or calling them up and forgive them because they may not be in that frame of mind to listen. They might want to bicker back and forth with you. So you don't need that to slow you down. You just act as if the person is in front of you and you send them all the forgiveness you need to send into the ethers with unconditional love attached, and all else will be taken care of. You see, our journey is to reveal such infinite truths by contemplating and meditating before we seek an opportunity to act. So we got to like contemplate and meditate in your level of forgiveness. When you do that, then you will act differently. You see that person, you will act differently if you're meant to see them. Or if they're trying to call you because they still got the beef on their side, the universe will make it such so that they can't contact you. Why? Because you're moving on into something much better. And this is all important. And this is why. Because you don't want to act on any false ideas that you have and any illusions that are in your world. You have to envision yourself living the principles of unconditional love. Unconditional love means no strings attached. You're not doing this because you want something back from the person. That's what unconditional love is. You're not saying to somebody, I love you, and then expecting them to love you back. You're just saying, I love you, and you just leave it at that. Because if you try to say it more than once or twice, somebody's going to rise up and say, well, why are you doing that? You weren't doing that before. Well, what they don't get is they're still looking at you 10 years ago when that incident happened. So they don't think you changed. And you don't have to prove to them that you made any changes. You only have to prove it to yourself. And the minute you say yes, you prove it to yourself, don't worry, the universe sends you the next assignment to see if you are true to your word. It will send you the next assignment, someone else. But this time you will pay attention to the transaction of energy and words and sound and appearances that are going back and forth between you and the next assignment. And you'll know if you're doing it right. It's not always because there's a smooth path, it's because it's a bumpy road. That's how you knew you're doing it right. Why? Because sometimes there's a cleansing that happens with yourself. Some things got to come up inside of you to get released. We don't often realize that we're holding on to things all the time. We can say, okay, I don't talk about it anymore. I'm quiet. But this is still going. You go to sleep at night and your heartbeat slows down and your brain wave slows down. And from the back of your head, old thoughts, old ideas, old experiences, old battles rise to the top like cream and show up in your dream. And when they show up in your dream, you can be responsible for what you see or not. If you healed from it, you can bless and release it. And you don't see it anymore, you don't hear it anymore. Even when you see the people and they say things to you, you don't even respond in the old way anymore. You let them have the glory of cursing you out. Why? Because it's not your burden to carry. It's they're still carrying the burden. You already released them in the heavens. You already let it go. So you don't have to hold on to it anymore. In fact, the less energy that you give to it, the less you will see or hear of that person or incident and what happened between you and them. It'll just dissipate. It won't even show up around you. Someone may try to call you and tell you about it. Hey, but you got your phone on silent, so it goes to automatic voicemail. Or your phone don't even answer the call because it's not supposed to. People sooner or later give up on trying to rehearse old patterns of behavior. So you don't have to be right. You just have to be present inside yourself. You don't have to work at being perfect in the exchange. Just be silent and present inside yourself. You don't have to argue with them. That's what happened to me in 2023. A friend who we were like brother and sister. They went off on me in a restaurant, but I knew not to bring them to my apartment because they have a violent temper. They would have been busting up everything in my apartment. Put them in a restaurant. And after it was all over, because I sat there with a smile on my face and just let them spit out the negativity, I didn't answer it once. And when the person left, still cursing all the way out the door and double flipping me off, everybody in that restaurant turned around and said, "Mister, are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." He said, "Are you sure?" Even one of my favorite waitresses says, "I'll bring you an extra cup of coffee for free and a dessert." I said, "I'm fine. I'm fine." I said, "I didn't even eat my lunch and I ain't taking it home because all that negativity went into the food." But here's the thing I learned. I got blessed within 48 hours after that. I had new clients show up that had been trying to get in touch with me before. I had new money come to me that had a hard time coming to me, but it started coming to me. New opportunities presented themselves to me. And it was like nothing ever happened. So, in a sense, when I forgave the person in spirit, I said, "Thank you for clearing out my aura." Because now, boom, 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 all of the harvest is coming in. Cornucopia from the four directions and the four corners. 8 different locations, things coming. Sometimes we got to let go. You hear that phrase, let go and let God, or let Jesus take the wheel. No, Jesus said, "I'm in the back seat, you take the wheel. I trust that you know where you're going." So the journey is not to get caught up in any illusions. We must envision ourselves living the principles of unconditional love. So when we love somebody unconditional, there are no strings attached. We're not saying, "I love you because I want this, this, and this from you." You're not saying, "I love you dearly," but you're not saying anything. Who are you extending this love to? This unconditional love is from you up into your higher self to their higher self. Now, if they're open to their higher self, they will receive it in the manner that they're supposed to receive it. If they're not, it'll just stay stored up in there until they make some sacrifices to receive it. And they may not know that they're about to receive it, but they will. But their life will go in a certain direction, and your life will go into a certain direction. See, we have to remember to set our ego aside. So when you set your ego aside, there's no blame. Then you begin to remember that we are all an infinite expression of divine thoughts of one source. So when you go through difficulties, difficulties are like viruses. Difficulties are like viruses. They're there. There's bacteria in your body right now. Some of it is what doctors call healthy bacteria and bad bacteria. Bad bacteria is an accumulation of stuff that we no longer need. Good bacteria is the right group, right time, right percentage, right pH balance. And what that pH balance bacteria is doing, it's calling the negativity over and it's consuming it. It's annihilating it. It's changing its frequency so that we get better internally. This is essential. Society, along with egocentric rulers, have always endeavored to do what? Block us from our awareness and remembrance of feeding our minds with overwhelming thoughts. That's what they're doing. They're feeding our minds with. This is why you're not supposed to watch TV all the time. Watch some movies, but try to watch something that makes you laugh or that makes you think, that educates you. And yeah, watch some things that could be entertaining as well. But you don't need to see lack, poverty, fear, hatred. You don't need to see illusions, illness, low self esteem. You don't need to see lies and manipulation and division. Why? Because those things program you to accept more of those things. That's why I find myself now coming home into my residence and don't turn on any TV. I don't even turn on music. I just walk around in silence for a while. That becomes a ritualistic practice, walking around in silence for a while. Sometimes I might watch a movie because I like, uh, thriller movies and things, action movies, but I leave like an hour and a half break before I go to sleep. I cut it off and I begin to let that drain out of my system, drain out of my thoughts. Because one of the things you want to do is do not sleep with the TV on. Why? Because when you fall eventually into your deepest amount of sleep, which takes about anywhere from 30 minutes to 60 minutes to 90 minutes, you are open to receive anything that you hear coming from the TV set. That even goes down to commercials. All of that will be in here. And then you wake up in your dream having that stuff in your dreams. So you don't want to leave a TV set on. You don't want to sleep with the TV set on. When people sleep with the TV set on, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it means they're lonely. They don't want to be by themselves. So they want to wake up with a TV light blaring in the night looking at them. That's a habit we need to break. If at all possible, play some subliminal music that you know about that's leaving you with prosperity and abundance and wellness and perfect health and new friends, new association, new networking procedures, new business partners, bringing you health and wealth in a completely different format for you. You don't want to go to sleep with negativity because if you fall asleep with negativity, you're going to dream it. And our ancestors and shaman medicine people always used to say, your dream world is your real world. What you dream about is real, not the other way around. So when you're dreaming, when you're having a dream, you can become consciously aware that you're dreaming. Then it's called lucid dreaming, LUCID dreaming. And that's when you consciously awaken while you are having a dream. You don't wake up out of your sleep, you just wake up in the dream and realize, okay, this isn't real. I'll give you a perfect example. Back in my 20s, when I was studying dreams intensely, I was looking at myself in a dream. And then I popped up in the dream with what I called a dream body. And I was standing on Fifth Avenue in New York City. And there was this parade. But all of us were watching the parade come down. And then we heard this scraping noise. We saw a huge, huge boat, cruise liner, coming up the street, heading south of Fifth Avenue. And we were saying, "What? Why is that thing making noise?" And people on it were waving. But when we looked down, it was cutting through the asphalt pavement on the street. That's the sound that we were hearing. And for however long that cruiser was, that's how long it was cutting up the street. And then I realized that doesn't happen in quote unquote real life on Earth. This is something that's going on symbolically in my life. What is about to cut through or cause separation in my life that I need to start to understand and release and let go of? Hey there, Ahira, how you doing? And Magi Stokes, 83, and Universe Faye. We welcome all of you here. This is my podcast, Clear Blue Radiance, for Resident Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics for today, February the 6th, 2025. And this is today's topic is you are the sacred reflection of I am as unconditional love, and you are the light of divine grace in action. So now we're getting to this point now because TV and radio and all kind of stuff that's out there that's happening, doubling down on our consciousness so that we can't think, is trying to project into our consciousness that we have lack. We can't override it. We have poverty. We have fear. We have hatred. Hatred of each other, fear of each other. We have illusions. We have illness. We got low self esteem. We're not supposed to love ourselves. We're being lied upon or lied to. We're being manipulated all the time. And we're being what? Divided. And even when there's those out there say, oh, we all need to stand together, got to watch some of them too, because some of them are only here to do what? You. They're not trying to come together. They think if they say that enough times, people will not pay attention to their true intentions. So we still have to remain alert at all times, aware of our surroundings at all times. But one of the things you do is put forth an affirmative, intentional prayer out of your own mouth and heart. You put forth your own intentional prayer several times a day, even at night. When you wake up, say it at night. Say some kind of prayer. Why? Because you're bringing into existence a new paradigm for yourself. In the new paradigm, there will be people in there that you enjoy being around, and they have their own. So you become a co-star in theirs, and they become a co-star in yours. You become an audience for them. They are an audience for you, and you'll be able to interact. Well, while you and all these positive people are making all of these statements to have a new life with efficiency and ease, a new life with no judgment, a new life with no prejudices, a new life where lack and poverty do not exist. As you sow those seeds, so shall it be. You begin to feel it, taste it, smell it, hear it, and experience it. You be walking around sometimes without a dime in your pocket and find money on the street. And you say, well, it looks a little dirty. I'm not going to pick it up. But guess what? The universe says, look around first and move it around with your foot to see how dirty it is. Why? Because if you got some napkins on you, if it's a $10 bill, you better pick it up. He said, but it's dirty. Yeah, pick it up, put it in something. You know, my late mother used to walk around with sandwich bags, the plastic ones. And when she'd find money, she had a special tweezer. And she'd pick that money up out the dirt, rub it on the grass. I said, Mom, it could be dog urine. He said, don't worry about it. We get home, we're going to wash it. Put it in there. Sometimes she find $20. Sometimes you find $6. Sometimes a couple of pennies in a plastic Ziploc bag. And guess what? She'd come home, pour the sink up with hot water and vinegar and a little drop of soap detergent and drop everything in there and let it soak until it got clear again. I said, what are you going to do now, Mom? You're going to put it on a paper towel and let it dry. And then the next thing she did, she would look outside and see where the sun was hitting, and she would put all of it in a jar and set it outside for sunlight to hit it. Or put it somewhere where the sun could hit it, but nobody would see it and touch it. She was reviving the money she just found and made it pure and clean again. And I said, we going to use that money? She says, nope. This jar is going to sit over here with Mama's Bible, and more is going to come in a different way. Then my mother sold Katie did candies. We had a garage full of them. Kids used to go in there and try to break into the garage. My mother says, I'm going to give you one box. I'm going to open up this box. I'm going to give you 2 cans. Don't come back in my garage. Okay, Mrs. Revels. Then after a while, my mother say, you and your brother get together and take these 100 or so boxes 25 boxes. We're going to put them in the basement. And that's what we did. We put them in the basement. That way, no one came to our garage looking for free boxes of candy. This is how the universe works. It shows us something, it gives us something. It's up for us to take advantage of it. When we take advantage of it, things begin to work. We're not really taking advantage of the object. The object was placed there as a demonstration that more is coming. So you say, I want a brand new car, but someone keeps showing you a used car. Eventually, the universe might whisper in your ear and say, take the car. You can resell the car. Somebody else will want the car, buy it from you, resell it from you. You go get a better car. This is how prosperity, the spirit of prosperity, will enter your life. You will be able to gain more and more and more. And no matter what the plan that other people have to poison you, they will only do what? Poison themselves. So if someone speaks ill will of you, just have that mirror of reflection in front of you because you're from the divine source, and that which they try to speak into your life will be spoken back into their lives 100 to 10,000 times over. And you don't have to go, well, I told you so. You don't have to acknowledge it. It's for them to acknowledge. And they say, well, how can I now, um, tell you I'm sorry? Tell them, I forgave you already. Now you just go forward and pay it forward to somebody else. Stop acting out and plant the word out there in unconditional love. You see, grace as divine grace, and this is the most important part. Grace as divine grace blesses us with inspirations, aspirations, inspirations from inside, spirit, aspiration, which where you want to get to. It's going to bless you with wellness and deep remembrance that we are all an integral part of the divine presence and never can be separated from it nor destroyed. Once we get that in here, there's no more fear about anything. We are the light of divine grace in action. That means every waking moment of your life, you are practicing grace and unconditional love and peace and harmony every moment of your life. Do you know when you go to sleep at night, this is still working and this is still working. So the heart and brain are working simultaneously and side by side. And blood is still being pumped through your system and fluids being pumped into your system. And the good bacteria is balancing off the bad bacteria. All of this is still working, even when you are asleep. If it wasn't working, you'd crossed over a long time ago. So you have to keep in mind that all of this is a part of you. We are the light of divine grace in action because it is all embedded in our divine nature. So we go back from whence we came. We live here, we're still in touch. People say, well, when is the UFO going to come? Well, it's already here. Them beings are already walking around in a state of invisibility. Some are underneath your residence. 600 miles underneath your residence, hundreds of miles underneath your residence. Some are right between the veil of you seeing. But all you got to know that UFO could mean unified force field, and the O means the circle of life, that being full inside of ourselves. Is no longer unrecognizable. It is recognizable. We are the same UFOs that we're looking for. We're the same aliens that we're looking for because they are saying, Tag, you're it. We did our job. We just come back here to see if you're doing your job. You are here to save yourself. You will be always a sovereign being. You don't have to worry about it. No one can take anything from you because that which they take from you, they take it from generations upon generations of themselves. If it wasn't for our ancestors, none of this would be here. I'll say that again. If there's nothing would be here without our ancestors being here. If people ask us to leave and tell us to take everything with us, can you imagine people digging up and shutting off lights, people shutting off traffic lights, people cutting off refrigeration on trucks and trains and cars, people cutting off engines, people taking nutrients out of the earth, like many other people do in other lands. Imagine if all of that goes, it's pitch black and dry here. Nothing going on. Even irrigation techniques are gone. So, all we got to do is do what the holiness inside of ourselves is telling us to do each and every day. If your holiness of your higher self tells you to pray, you pray. If it tells you to release or write out an affirmative prayer or a decree, do that. If it tells you, just listen. If it tells you to go enjoy your life and laugh, why? Because there's someone else doing it. It's okay. Just do it. If it tells you to wake up in the middle of the night to do it, you do it. Why? Because it is necessary for you to fulfill your divine creed and decree on this earth. You are the living decree right now. You are walking in the journey of your own light right now. You are the source on earth right now. You are not the source, you are the reflection of that source. So that's why if you say, I am, comma, that I am, you're identifying yourself with the divinity that's already inside of you. Each of your trillions of cells is holding inside of you a divine mechanism, a divine button. If you ever push that button, I'm not going to say all hell breaks loose. I'm going to say all light within you comes out. See, the higher self is waiting for you to knock on its door and let it come out. When we knock on the door of the higher self and it comes out, it brings all light out onto the earth. It only takes one to break the pane of glass to get the fire extinguisher. It only takes one, two, or three, or as Greg Braden says, law of eight. It only takes eight people around the world, or eight people in the same location to be thinking on the same page to say, we are free. You're free. We are love. You're love. We are unconditional love. You're love with no strings attached. You are infinite divine grace. You live under the aegis, or mean the wings, the divine wings of grace, and nothing can be ever taken from you because there's no time to take it from you. You're just it. I just heard something. The next time you happen to be watching the news, you send them people light. So much light that they cannot initiate negativity. See people coming into their life whispering, hey, they can't do that. Why? Why can't I do it? Because you're going to take yourself out of here at the same time. Those who in your family that you're hiding from the public are going to find out where they are and take them out of here. And you're going to be forced to come out. So just send them light, but the light of divinity, not just hope, the light of justice, not just pure justice, the light of truth. Because the truth is, can't wipe out everybody because everybody ain't going nowhere. You can't wipe out anybody because anybody is somebody. What's that Jesse Jackson used to say? I am somebody. Jesse Jackson used to say, remember? He used to say it back in the 60s and 70s. I am somebody. Yeah, you are, I am. That's the somebody that you are. You are this infinite being walking around here. You could call up the UFO if you want. There's a guy named Dr. Stephen Gray. He does it all the time. Take people into the desert in Nevada and Arizona and up in California, big sewer mountains, and they just call on them things all day long. And they having a communication because the things in the skies are blinking back to them. You can do that with the sun with a certain iPhone or Motorola iPhone and put your back to the sun and face the image and see the sun and start talking to it, and it'll start to flash. You may not really see it, but you keep the recorder on, you will see it show up in the recording that someone in the sun beyond that sun is communicating with you. And I'll tell you who it is. It's your higher self. Your higher self spends time in the sun, in the great central sun, not Alcyon. It loves Sirius and the Orion belt. That's where it hangs out at. Why? Because it's overriding the three pyramids in Egypt. and all other pyramids. So as I approach this time, I've been on here 54 minutes. This is the message. I want to say hello to again to people on Instagram and Facebook. So we'll start with 172 Monique. Thank you. Kid Pebbles, how you doing? Hera Beauty is here. Magic Stokes is here. Magic Stokes 83. How you doing? And Universe Faye. Those are the people that join me today on my Instagram account. I'm starting to do these and share them live. I want to say thank you to Barbara Ewing on the Resident Essentials YouTube channel. Let me get my mouse a clicking here. I want to say Golden Timeline 711, thank you. Jackie Fillmore Antoine, thank you. Rose Jefferson, thank you. Cynthia Jones, thank you. Barbara Ewing, thank you. I think there's one more person in here. No, I think that's everybody. Yes, that's everybody. Thank you for joining me. Now, this is the announcement I want to make. Because I'm doing this podcast, Clear Blue Radiance, here for Resident Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics YouTube channel on Tuesday, February the 4th, 2025, at 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Resident Essentials School of Metaphysics was given a ribbon cutting ceremony by the Hispanic Cultural Center here in Albuquerque at our new location. Our new location for Resident Essentials, Esoteric School of Metaphysics, which is now a nonprofit business. Hey there, Holly Hemmett, and also to Linda Garcia and hmm, Melanie Hall and Indigo Moon. I had to get that out. That's all the people that will be here at the YouTube channel. Well, we had a ribbon cutting ceremony, and it was given to us by the Hispanic Cultural Center here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And our new center now is located at 2703 Broadbent Parkway Northeast, Suite J, here in the city of Albuquerque, and the area of the zip code was 87107. So, on behalf of Resident Essentials School of Metaphysics President Michelle Vidal, I would like to thank all of the board members that were there. And if I remember, some of them were Anna Luz, were Cheryl Skinner, was Diane Martins, I think was her name, or Diane was there. We also had other people. Oh, we had Lee Mitchell was there. Lee Mitchell had a table. She she's a teacher of past life regressions, and she often does that as for her clients. Of course, I was there. I am the meditation teacher there every Saturday, and Michelle Vidal was there. We had many other people in attendance, and there were 14 of the 40 people of the Hispanic Cultural Center were able to come out and enjoy the festivities with us. It was a nice time by all, and I think that Michelle might be planning something come July for the anniversary of Resident Essentials. This is 2025. So before Resident Essential was a nonprofit organization, um, she also had it known as Resident Essentials, and it kicked off in 2015. So we're going to have a 10-year celebration out here one particular day or evening at the new location. I want to thank everybody for joining me. I'm going to sign off. I want to thank all you from Instagram to our YouTube channel here for Resident Essentials. Thank you for joining me today. I will be back next week. For those of you that are aware that I'm doing a paid first Thursday night workshop, and it's entitled How to Use the Blu-ray Blue Flame to Connect with Akhenaten and Nefertiti and with Sirius. And that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. Yeah, Indigo Moon was in there with a big heart. Indigo. Thank you, everybody. What am I going to do right now? Well, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to talk to one of the people that's in here. Cynthia, we will reconnect as soon as I sign off. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day. Be well, be pleasant, and let the light shine. Everlasting light shine on you. Remember that song? The Everlasting Light? And also, there are other tunes out there that talk about light. I was just talking about the other day. Earth, Wind, and Fire had a tune back in the 70s, um, something about morning glory and the serpentine fire. I had the exact sentence in my mind, but I can't remember right now. But anyway, have a pleasant rest of your day. And I know it's cold in other parts. We are usually warm. We're like 65 right now, and we're not supposed to be. We had 70 yesterday. We weren't supposed to be. We had 70 on Tuesday. We weren't supposed to be. We're actually supposed to be just cold. So at night it's been 65 degrees. It's supposed to be 29 degrees. So we're also praying that the ground doesn't ignite out here with wildfires. Usually it happens in the upper northeast corner, upper northwest corner, and lower southwest and lower southeast corner where fires break out. We're fortunate that we don't have them, but we've had some people try to ignite them since I've been here, and the right people have been in place to shut that light off. So, yeah, it's a shining star. That's what it's called by Earth, Wind, and Fire. So, thank you all for being here. I look forward to being here next Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m., which is my time, Mountain Time, and 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And wherever it is around the world for you, you put in my time, 1 p.m. Mountain Time, and then see how it converts to your time of the world with the date. And then that's when you know when to come on. Melanie Hall sometimes is here, and she views us all the way from Australia. So take care of yourself, be well. My grace is your grace. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we're alive and well in the age of remembrance. Look forward to seeing you really soon. Take care, everybody. Yay! I'm done.